guys, it's Kat and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be different. I have not done this type of video at all, I'm pretty sure, in the history of my channel, which is extensive and underwhelming, but it's fine. But today's video is going to be my May to be read list, which is conveniently placed right up here. So anyway, let's just get into this month's to be read, because I've been reading a lot lately and I figured that making one of these videos would be cool. The first book on this month's to be read is America's First Daughter by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoe. It's actually a finish reading. I'm almost done. If you see right there, I don't have like that much left. But it is about Patsy Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson's oldest daughter, and I love historical fiction. I used to read it all the time, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon for a while. And when I was at Amazon Books recently, I saw this and it sounded really interesting. It's just kind of a telling of basically her entire life from when she was a child to when she is an adult at the end of the book. And I love it because it goes into detail about, you know, people's lives, like the founding fathers, like, you know, there were people related to them, you know, and like revolution is dangerous and it's scary for those involved, and it's really interesting. And there's a whole part in France when she lives in France and the French Revolution and all that. And I just really like it. And then there's also some romance in there because, like, obviously there's gonna be romance. And I like it because there's not like a love triangle, but there's a little bit of like a love triangle at the same time. It's interesting. I don't know. I really like it so far, and I only have a little bit to go, so gonna finish this one before I go on to any of the others. The next book that I want to read this month is Crown of Midnight. I read the first book in this series, Throne of Glass, back like 3-ish months ago, maybe more, yeah, I don't know. I was in treatment at the time and I was reading a ton and I loved it, and then my roommate's friend actually had all the books, but she didn't really like them, so she gave them all to me, which is so cool because now I have them all. I need some YA badass female assassin books in my life, and these ones are definitely that. I like these better than the Court of Mist and Fury ones. I did read the first one of that and most of the second one, though I can't tell if I don't love them because of the context in which I read them, like in a psych ward, but who can say? A lot of people don't like the main character, but I think she is so cool and she's confident and badass, so I am so excited to read this book. And I'm excited because after, you know, some real world historical fiction, I like to switch things up and read something else. The next book on my list is How to Get Shit Done by Erin Faulkner. This book I have started reading, and so far I really like it. So this is what I'll do, is like I'll be reading fiction and then also a nonfiction on the side, or like at the same time. I used to think of nonfiction on the side, but now I'm really starting to like it, so it's more like a as well as, you know, or maybe that's just all the DBT. I like fiction and nonfiction. So I really like this because I am struggling a bit as of late with recovery and staying motivated and remembering my values and not really knowing what it is that I want to do. And this book is excellent because it has writing prompts and things to think about as you're reading the book that have to do with like your values and what you truly want out of life. And it's also more of like the focus of like, you know, enjoying the journey rather than just always focusing on these end goals. And I like that this book embraces that, and it's about getting things done by kind of simplifying your day and getting rid of unnecessary things that maybe you don't need to be worried about as much, because we're like, as women especially, and it's focused at women, but as women especially, we kind of get roped into this idea of like we need to be so productive and we need to get X, Y, and Z done, and then we get all those things done and we feel like we haven't accomplished anything because none of those things were necessarily, you know, our personal goals. So I have really been enjoying this and I look forward to finishing it this month. For my next book that I hope to read this upcoming month, we have Gnomon. I didn't really think this through or how to pronounce it. I would say Gnomon, I don't know. By Nick Harkaway. It is a dystopian. Everything is monitored and observed, and, you know, everybody kind of has no privacy, no freedom really, because they say that safety is the main priority, and if they observe everybody's every move, everything will be safer because people can't be doing things that are harmful or illegal or whatever. It seems really cool. I love dystopian novels. I collect them and I read them all. But it gave me kind of a 1984 vibe. So I'm really excited to read this. But it says it periodically calls to mind the films Inception and The Matrix. What a ride. I'll let you know how it is. I think I'll do a wrap up at the end of the month just to cover the books that I've read, because that's what YouTubers do, right? I think. This next book is another nonfiction book called Waiting for Gatreaux by Alexander Polakov. I've had this book for a couple years now. I remember that I bought it my first year in law school because Alexander Polakov came and talked in my law and poverty class, because I guess he is friends with the professor. Maybe he went to Loyola. I don't know. I don't think he did. But he was friends with the professor and he came in and he talked about it. And it's basically about public housing in Chicago specifically, and this huge court case that basically the Supreme Court said that public housing couldn't be in high rises or just, you know, in one confined area, because when you do that, like if you have just a small area of public housing and there's no jobs around that area, then people turn to things like drugs and crime because they need money to live. And it has been found that if public housing, if it's mixed in with other housing, it's just a better scenario all around. And the court case was Gatreaux versus whatever, Chicago Housing Authority or something. But it was really interesting when you talked about it, and I bought the book because I was like, gotta read about it, and then kind of never got around to it because it was when I was, you know, in law school, scraping by, trying just not to die. So I never finished it. And I am gonna start reading it again, especially with law school coming up in a few weeks. I thought that reading something about law that genuinely interests me and reminds me of why I chose to go to law school in the first place, to help people. So this is definitely on my to be read. I'm really excited to pick this up again. And we have finally made it to the last book I plan on reading this month, which again, I've started. I do this a lot, but this is Empty Bottles Full of Stories by Robert M. Drake. And it's a poetry book. You know, it tells a story. It's really interesting. I have been into poetry recently because you can say so much while only using a few words. And I find that writing poems and things and reading poems really helps me when I'm struggling. And also it's a quicker read, you know, when you're reading poetry books. So I thought I would throw this one in there. I actually have a lot of the poems I've been working on, and I'm thinking about starting a blog where I will post poetry and writing. So if anyone is interested in that, let me know. I'm probably gonna do it anyway because I love doing things anyway. So that is it for my May to be read. I wanted to keep it a little shorter, especially because there's a couple bigger books in there and I don't want to overwhelm myself. I don't have a ton of time to just sit and read. So I didn't want to have, like, you know, 13 books and then feel like, oh, I read none of these. I suck at life and I'm a terrible person. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it or comment down below or do both. It would really help me out so much. And let me know what your to be read books are for this month. If you have videos, let me know in the comments down below. I will watch them, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. My videos range from a lot of topics, from beauty, lifestyle, vlogging, eating disorder recovery, to apparently books now. So here we are. And yeah, I will see you in my next video, hopefully. Or if you're not interested in those other videos, but you are interested in books, I will see you hopefully at the end of the month for my May wrap up and June to be read. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will go now because I have repeated myself several times. Love ya. See you later.